I rolling? There we go. Let me just look at the Facebook feed and just make sure one of
Can
them
I
is on.
record it too in case it'll be all right on my
Yeah, go
podcast?
for it. Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. Just it's better to get local sometimes anyway. Okay, I see. Yes. All
Uh,
right.
uh, it's saying request permission, which I
Oh,
did.
because I am hosting it or whatever. I've got it locally, so I'll get you the file afterwards. I can get it as an
Thanks.
MP3 as well. So, all right. The Adulting Gamer. This is the second time I've kind of talked through career stuff with somebody.
Oh, is it? Okay,
Yeah, so I
awesome.
did a part one with somebody that just said I don't know where to start. I told him to go take some personality tests, like because he just didn't have any idea what he wanted to do. He just knew he wanted to
Oh,
do some writing and he needed a job that paid better. I was like, well, those two things probably aren't like J.K. Rowling didn't become J.K. Rowling in 6 months, so you probably need a job and you need to figure out how to work on that thing.
yeah,
Um,
because she was homeless, right?
she was, yeah, she was on assistance. I think she might have been homeless, and wrote a lot of it on her BlackBerry. So we should do intros. My name is Seth Tower Hurd. If for some reason you're finding this uh, via Felicity's podcast, I do a thing called the Adulting Gamer, where I predominantly play video games on my lunch hour, a couple days a week, from a marketing agency here in St. Louis, which is definitely a dream job, and kind of talk about career and life skill stuff because there's a pretty strong correlation between gaming and what it takes to level up in real life. Felicity Joyner Solomon is somebody I met in. Man, we should have kept track of the. Well, do you know what year you went on that cruise? We met in Chicago. You won a cruise on the radio where I was
That's
working. We've been
right.
friends ever since. What do you have any idea what year that was or not?
I don't. Oh, and I could figure it out from the age of my kids, but I don't know if I could do it correctly. I'm in 2005.
Okay, 2005 ish. Okay,
Yeah.
13-ish years ago.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I'm Felicity Solomon, Simply Felicity. And I just started my podcast talking about helping people make their dreams come true.
Okay,
And
gotcha.
pretty much like right the week you started was
When you started
when
it.
when I was starting. And one of your first podcasts I saw was like, oh, there's some real like synergy here because what you're talking about is a real key to helping people make their dreams come true, I think. So anyway, in your honor, I did play a couple rounds of Jeopardy on my phone. I
So,
so I'm like totally adulting gamer right now.
okay, very nice. So I will be. I guess if you're listening to this on audio, it's not going to make any sense. I figured out how to basically cancel Verizon for a week. That's why I didn't have a regular phone or whatever, and then come back as a new customer. They suggested I do this in the store,
Oh
so
wow.
my I can have Verizon again on like Saturday. I have a Walmart flip phone for the week, and it's been terribly difficult to be honest. Everybody's
Oh,
like, "Oh, I miss the simplicity. If I didn't have the internet in my pocket, my life would be easier." It wouldn't be. I've run into so many obstacles not having a cell
oh
phone.
wow.
Um,
Because Ed Sheeran did that for like 6 months and he said he was much happier. But I guess if you
oh,
had his staff, you might be too.
I was gonna say, if you're really rich and you can have people do stuff for you, cool. Like I'm sure if you're the president, well, actually, this president uses Twitter a
He
lot, so
does
that's maybe
not
not a,
want a flip phone. Yeah.
yeah. I was gonna say, but if you're a CEO, a president of a country or a company or whatever, you can dictate everything. Like so, for example, I needed to have put a work order in on our apartment. The dishwasher's like not draining properly again, and I'm like, dang it! Like the only way you can really do that is via an app. You can't do it like even on the internet anymore. And so all those like little things like that, like people think they waste so much time on their phone, and if you do, well then stop wasting time on your phone. You can definitely use it for productivity, and you can, like I record a podcast on it while I'm walking my daughter. I do the whole thing over a cellular connection. And that's time that I mean, she's pretty like I give my wife another hour to sleep in the morning, and Ava's pretty happy to just see the other walkers and dogs and listen to me yap. That's time that would have been impossible 5 years ago to do something like
Right.
that. I would have had to connect a laptop to the jogging stroller and like have wires hanging out everywhere. And now I just use a pair of AirPods and I can do it. Okay, let's get the bio on you, and then let's jump in. So, grew up in Chicago, High Points. You've done a decent amount of acting. You are an Ivy Leaguer. Like, just do that.
Right. Oh, I wish I were better at that. So Ivy Leaguer, I have a master's in teaching and a doctorate in Christian counseling. I've been a life coach for about 12 years, um, several happy clients, and I have a somewhat healthy young Patreon account of people supporting me in these communication ventures that I do outside. And I also teach English online to little Chinese children.
Okay. And you do that. What time of day do you do that?
So that you can do that from 4 to 8 a.m., depending on where we're at in the time change. And then in the evenings, you can work all night Friday and Saturday night and into the day Saturday and Sunday.
Okay. So are you like a night person that just stays up till then, or do you get up at 3:30 and go to
Not
work?
even a little bit. Yeah. So I do the morning gig.
Mm-hmm. I mean, some people would rather stay up all night.
Right.
I would
Yeah.
not. I would not. No,
Was there ever a time you would have done that, or you're just
no, I
now?
got made fun of in college because I like to go to bed so early.
Oh,
Um,
okay. Okay. So you and I have the same history then. I've been made fun of all my life for going to bed so early. And if I like had homework lingering, I would wake up at 3 or 4 a.m. to do it. My mind would be so clear.
yeah,
I'm like, this is why I get good grades, people. Like I'm clear, the house is quiet. Like you have amazing ideas at 3, 4 a.m. if you've had a fairly good night's sleep.
yeah. No, and that's not for everybody. Like so for so Amanda was drawing last night for kind of a project, kind of little business thing we're gonna launch for her, and I mean she just crushed it from like probably 10 to midnight. Um,
Yeah.
and I get kind of just was like could kind of see she needed a break last night, so she went to see a movie, and I got Ava to bed and everything. She got home, she's like, I thought maybe you would have like played some Xbox or watch a movie or something. I'm like, I am a zombie by like 8 p.m. after I get up at like 4:30 or 5, and then
Yeah.
do the kind of whole corporate thing by day, get home, do some other stuff, go to bed. I mean, I really just it definitely in the baby phase of life where like flipping through. Just flipping through washing bottles, getting the garbage out, like all those things. And, trying to enjoy it all and realize I'll probably have more time, a little bit later, but I'll also miss the baby stage, so I might as well just kind of be in it. So,
Love
yeah. So, yeah, as far as like, kind of different pieces of career stuff together, like how do you feel about it right now, I guess? Like, because that's different, and that's where a lot of people are at. Like, I kind of cobble together a couple things, and that's kind of where I'm at. Like, you enjoying it? You like feel like it's in the right thing? You want to add things? Want to take things away? Where are you at?
Well, like I like to add something that I don't hate. That would be phenomenal to add something that I don't hate. When I actually before I talked to you, I reapplied to Amazon. So I was working in a warehouse there, and that was like it was just totally giving me everything I needed financially to do that. Cobbling all that together gave me everything I needed.
Yeah,
But while Amazon wasn't hiring and when they didn't need me, I was able to build up the Patreon. So I do have some of that money back, but I still need like a little bit more. It would be, I don't know, when I heard you speak, it made me think like maybe there's like some type of adult job that would make me have to really hustle in my off hours. But if I didn't hate it, then it may not be so draining and I could still use my brain to do, other things.
yeah. Well, I would say the workload, and it's funny because I'm actually working more hours, but the workload is lighter than my last job. So I moved down to St. Louis to be closer to family, aka Amanda and I wanted some free babysitting from time to time. and I
Smart.
was with a gig for a few months, and then they got bought by private equity. Blah 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 layoff blah 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 blah. I picked this job up very quickly, and it's like this is what took me 6 or 7 steps to be able to be in a position to,
Mm,
really do something like this, and that's thrilling. Um, so I think that maybe the conversation starts around because I talked about this yesterday. Like I'm now in a position where I get to work with some really big brands, and that's really fun. And yet, 7 years ago, I failed the math test at uh, Family Video after getting laid off and couldn't. I probably it was. I think it was just general nervousness. Math in front of
I
people's.
laughed so hard because that
Well,
was like my first job was Family Video, but I mean, I was closer to school. I
yeah.
might fail it
Well,
now.
it was more just like I hadn't done well in math on the ACT, and I kind of just locked up. Um, you know, so there's always steps, but what I would say is when I was looking at that job, I wasn't utilizing all the tools I could have had to you know, I mean, I had 2 master's degrees, I had a ton of experience. I just was like, well, whatever, I can do this. It's buy the house. It's 2012. The economy is terrible. Like, this is probably where I'm at. I think even then, there's probably a job that paid 3 times out there I could have locked down. I just wasn't looking for it. So I guess the first thing is like you got the Princeton thing, right? You got the Ivy League thing. Like, how in touch are you with the alumni association? We're trying to get together with like the Princeton like crew in Chicago because that stuff is powerful.
Yeah, I just went back for my very first reunion. My 25th reunion was this year, and I did like sense that there was a lot that I wasn't taking advantage of. I have been to some alumni events that have been helpful. Um, so far, the connections I've tried to make with the like entrepreneurial association and stuff haven't like brought up anything, but I am getting into that a little bit to try to
Yeah.
see what's there.
So what I would do too is because you're in the Chicago suburbs, I would hop on LinkedIn and just make sure that it says Princeton on your LinkedIn, and then when you search companies, just look for anybody else that says Princeton, and then when you do the little connection thing, I would just put Princeton in there, something like that. So, uh, as far as a corporate job, you said you're doing the Amazon thing. As far as corporate stuff, like, what direction would you kind of point yourself? From like working with clients to project management to creative. Creative would be like copywriting, design, PR. Like, where do you think your resume syncs up? Where would you land on that?
I reached out to somebody at my church that works in like educational software or something. I don't know if there might be some type of fit with that, the teaching end or things that are marketed to teachers, companies that do that kind of thing, curriculum, something like that. Maybe my master's would link up with, and I have a lot of teaching experience now, like various types of teaching experiences. So I was kind of thinking about the educational world. I'm reaching out to somebody who's doing that kind of work.
Okay, so doing some more teaching stuff, right?
Yeah, either teaching or things that are marketed to teachers, marketed to schools, like maybe somewhere in that world.
Okay. Um, Very interesting. So, where I would start is I would just literally start putting it in Google. Let's just do it together. I'm going to share out my screen here. Um, Let me share this guy up. All right, we got about 17 minutes. Let's see what we can get done. So just educational. Um, Company jobs, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's gonna be. It's all hitting me where I'm located. We'll put it in Chicago and just kind of have some fun here. Um, Interesting.
Yeah, she does like educational consulting, education coach. Like, what do you need to do that?
Let's find out because I will got to go through this. 5 to 10 years of teaching experience. It sounds like you can kind of make the case on that. Maybe not exactly what they were thinking about, but probably have the experience uh, to do it. I mean, yeah, this is like education technology, right? So then where I
Yeah.
would jump is I would just jump over to LinkedIn and literally I just start like, when I have job hunted in the past, I just look for people who work there and just reach out and ask them some kind of question. Because what you
Nice.
don't want to say is like, hey, I want to work there, but what the heck? Um, Where's the actual company? Oh, there it is. Okay, 49 applicants. Uh, so I don't know what the quality of applicants are at. I don't know what they're looking for. Can I see the? Oh, there we go. All right.
Oh,
People, and then I'll just connect to one of them. Okay, so who's my shared connection there? That's so tiny. It's like, how am I supposed to see that?
they don't. You can't click that.
Apparently, you can't.
That
Wait,
might
let
be
me
a
see that.
premium membership. Do you have a premium
No, I
membership?
don't.
But you can make it big.
Or
Okay.
you can make it big.
See if you recognize them.
Okay. Who is that? Who is that? That person hates me, sadly.
Oh, nuts. But obviously, I can do this
Yeah,
on
yeah, you
my
can do
end,
that
and
on your
hope
end.
you don't hate me.
Yeah, and then I would just like here. Let me just fake it. Add a note right there.
Okay.
Watch
Very
this.
good. Hey, man, stumbled upon the
Chicago
Chicago
job randomly
and thought I might have a friend that could be for it. Oh, could be a fit. I love making connections. Actually, that is such a like swag way to go about it.
all
I
right.
just very good.
So there you go. Second thing, because we've got about 14 minutes here, so I wanted to hit on this. This is actually a company I've worked with in the past. A lot of times you can find gig work here pretty good, so anything in the creative world. So I just put in Chicago, look for work, and this is how, I mean, one of my friends has just eaten off of this for like years.
Oh, creativecircle.com.
Yeah, Creative Circle. So they're headhunters. I mean, headhunters get paid. So let's just say copywriting, because I think you could pull that off, right? And they may, some of these definitely may take more, kind of corporate stuff than you got on your resume yet. But like, corporate communication specialist, you know, I just go into it like this and we see what happens. So thoughtful, meaningful, and snappy copy. That actually seems like you pull it off. Consumer packaged goods space. Part of this is just knowing the lingo. You probably don't have that one, so that may not be it. You may need to stick more in education. I just wanted to show you what was out there.
Okay.
Let's do one more just for fun. I mean, this is just writing. 1 to 2 years of experience in corporate and internal communication space. Can you prove that, or can you make a case on that?
I don't think so.
Okay, that's all right. So the thing is that these companies, I mean, these headhunters get paid for placement, so they really want to, rock with you, find a gig, because I mean, this is what they get paid to do. That's where they get their commission off of. So I would just start doing like, recruiter education, something like that, and just try to find, where the talent agencies are at. So I found it in marketing, and that's how I've been able to, make some connections in this job and the last job I was in both. I needed to move cities. I basically had no connections, and I started reaching out to headhunter agencies. Went really fast both times, and then that's kind of what also spilled over even after I found a job I loved and want to stay out forever. I'm still getting hit on LinkedIn and stuff. You can also change your LinkedIn to say open to new opportunities. I don't know where that's at, but as soon as you do that and you list some relevant experience, you'll start getting people hitting you up. And I would say we are at a point where it's just natural that the stock market's got to tick down at some point. I mean, it just can only go up so long. And the healthiest thing it could do would be a moderate adjustment to just dip down a little bit so that we don't get smashed with some kind of huge recession like '08. I'm actually kind of rooting for it to slow down a little bit because it's the healthiest thing that's going to probably keep the most amount of people safe long term, as opposed to some sort of huge bubble that was like that just kind of kept getting overinflated like the housing market did. It's a downturn in the stock market doesn't necessarily mean jobs are affected a ton. Doesn't mean the average person's affected a ton. Like, what was borderline a legit depression last time. But I would say hitting it right now, because the signs are there that we're going to get a little slowdown. Hitting it right now is really important because you're going to get more money right now because companies are still overpaying for talent.
Okay.
And I just play this game. I mean, I just reach out as many times as I possibly can on LinkedIn. And then you just find the people on Twitter. So what was that we said, Promethean or whatever?
Yeah.
Find the people on Twitter and just there we go.
The people that are connected to Promethean?
Yeah, so just find their employees.
Companies.
No, find their employees. So, wow, he should be pretty unique to find on Twitter. That's a pretty unique last name, right? I mean, it's not Smith. So let's just go over here and see, what's going on with it. Okay, so he's not on Twitter. And we may not find one live right now, but you can follow these people around. Like, you don't want to friend them on Facebook because that would get weird, right? But it's totally cool. I mean, you can see what they look like. So it's totally cool to find them on Twitter and just reply to stuff.
So they kind of get to know your name and...
Yeah. Okay, let's just take this guy. Oh, I didn't even click to that guy. He doesn't look like somebody that's kind of in the professional mindset. All right, this guy's a founder of something, right?
Okay.
Let's see what he's into. He's into water and pictures of his kids. Okay, so just throwing a reply out, something like this, like having something intelligent to say, is just getting him talking about whatever is how you make these connections. So I maintain lists. So I maintain lists. I'm not going to pull it up because I don't, want on the internet to see who's on there just in case any of those people don't like. So I'm working in agriculture marketing. I maintain lists of agriculture marketing people, and just to see what people are talking about, so that I have a pulse on the customer. I interact with some of them just for fun, but I don't say like, hey, I'm trying to talk to you about anything. I just kind of interact with them to see what their opinions are and stuff. So you can do add or remove from lists right there.
Oh, you mean Twitter lists?
Twitter lists, yeah. So Twitter lists, and you can just kind of see there. I'll put him in. Okay, so here we go. Change 2017. So that's after I went through a layoff. Well, let's just even click into it. Let's just see who's in there. I made a list of people on Twitter I was trying to connect with about finding a job, and then I got about 6 minutes here. So lists. There we go. Let's go to lists and just see who's in there. See, it's a locked down list because I don't want people to find it.
Yeah.
And so let's just see who's in there, right? So, who is Shelly? Okay, yeah. So she's a supervisor at a major agency in San Francisco. I would have never moved there, so that probably wasn't quite the right thing, right? So Joel Hall. Oh yeah, I did. I think I talked to him a little bit. It's kind of just nothing came of it, right? But we had a conversation about me maybe working with him. Well, I can go in here, and this is the greatest thing because fit is so important for companies to find out whether or not you're a good fit. So I can just find out what's going on with Joel. So he got featured by the Nashville airport. That's super interesting. Okay. Is that a company? One of his employees is their 15-year anniversary. That's pretty interesting about Twitter. Interesting. I mean, you just kind of get a feel for what the guy's into, right? So he's into technology. He's kind of into forward thinking. And then if I get a phone interview with him, I know how to craft a cover letter, and I know how to craft a conversation to get him to be like, hey, I could figure out how to work with that guy. And so pretty much those are the steps. I just do this stuff over and over and over again.
Yeah.
When I was on the job market.
I love this because it's a lot, it's higher touch, and it's so hard. Like when you search for a job, all you see are Indeed, and then all the job hat and just crazy like stuff that if you've ever clicked on that stuff, it doesn't really go anywhere.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I mean, because you're going into an algorithm then, and I talked about that yesterday, right? Like you got to write your resume to get picked up by an algorithm. Um, this is so much different because you can get to people without having to get through the algorithm. So you can be super qualified for a job, and just if the computer program doesn't pick up your keywords, it's not going to show it. Um, so it really is just a numbers game. I've always been of the mindset that to take a job I really wanted, I, you know, I need to do like 100 to 300 resumes. Um, and so that's just always my mindset of like I keep a master list, and it's like okay, can I get 7 done one day and 3 done the next, and 10 done on Saturday or whatever it is, like really quality, um, cover letters and everything. And then I also do boxes on the spreadsheets. Like, did I connect with somebody there? Did we talk? Did I make any kind of direct ask? Like if we're having a conversation, like, okay, hey, you mind maybe just checking with HR about where my resume's at? I think this could be a really good fit. And you just do that over and over again. And the thing is then you don't have to necessarily bite at one thing. Like, so, the last gig I was at, that it was fine. It wasn't the happiest job I've ever had. Like, it's just as far as I didn't, um, what they needed me to do was a little more difficult, kind of where the company was at technologically.
mm,
Wasn't against any of the people or anything like that. It just was a kind of an awkward stage of the business as far as what I was supposed to, you know, get done. And I was out of town when I took the job. Had I been in town, I probably would have been like, I got an offer there, but it's probably not the right,
mm.
more just not the right time, not even the right company, not nothing against the company or the job, just not the right time. Um, and when you're doing this, you can be a lot more confident to be like, that's not it, because you know that there's going to be some other things around the corner. Um,
Very cool.
yeah, so that's pretty much the summary. How you feeling?
Really good. I feel like I have some options, and because I just knew whatever you were going to tell me wasn't going to be the route of just whatever you do when you search on Google a job. It's like all this stuff comes up, and it's um, you just know it's not going anywhere. So
Hmm.
feel much better. Yeah, I'm gonna look at the even the very first thing you pulled up with the educational
Yeah.
consulting, and there was like educational coaching on there. And I'm just curious what all's out there. So
And the other thing, it just as a closing note too, go to everything. Go to
yeah.
absolutely everything. There's even different networking associations you can go to and stuff. So I've honestly, I went to a networking opportunity that I think I saw. So it was before I worked for this company. I'm 90% sure I actually saw my current boss at it. Um, I walked in cold. They just kind of invited marketing people from whatever. Everybody kind of knew everybody already. I didn't know anybody. I walked in. I tried to talk to a couple people. Nothing happened. I realized I saw my current boss, I believe, or a current coworker anyway. At least I think I saw somebody from the company there. There's a couple people I may have recognized, that I made the connections with later. And I seriously walked around for 5 minutes, and just nobody talked to me. So I went home. I now work with that company professionally. I have a fantastic relationship with them. I know it was not personal at all. It's just everybody was kind of in conversations, and I kind of didn't find that in to make any connections. And so, you know, it helps me not take. I don't really take that personally anyway, but I think a lot of
Hmm.
people are like, oh my gosh, I went, I put myself out there, nobody liked me. How tough was
Yeah.
that? It's never personal. And it's just volume. Like the more people you can talk to, and the more people you can say, like, hey, I'm looking for this kind of thing next. Who do you know in that world?
Yeah.
People are pretty willing to help.
And where did you find out about these networkings you're finding out about on LinkedIn or?
I just Google it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and I go to stuff, even though I feel like I'm in a very long term job, I go to stuff just to know people because um, going to stuff is how, quite frankly, I get free tickets to a lot of things. I get invited to cool stuff. Um, I may not be quote unquote networking professionally for myself, but I know that if I'm able to introduce somebody to my company and then they get hired, I get a bonus. I mean, there's all kinds of things. I may have a nonprofit connection somebody should volunteer with.
Hmm.
All those connections wind up being something in your life.
Well, thank you
My lunch
so
hour is
much.
over. 1 minute. You got any other parting thoughts?
No, thank you very much. You are the master connector. So I'm really glad I reached out, and I will keep you updated on my progress. To be continued.
Okay, we will talk soon. I will catch you later. How do I shut this thing down? There.